Okay, grocery shopping. When I was a kid, you got paid either on Thursday or Friday, and you went with your parents and you did grocery shopping for the week, and then maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you go back for milk and bread and eggs. That's the way it used to. There have been some slight changes. Okay, disruptors of all sorts are in this space. So let's take a look at some of those. Okay, in 1883, Mount Airy in Cincinnati, Ohio, a little company that sold tea, the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company, started. However, as we go with that, good. At that point, you would either buy from a farmer, you'd go to a farmer's market, or a disrupting company named Kroger started delivering to you. So that was a great start before you put together stores as you would look at them today. Or, go ahead, you can see the change over the years that's taken place. So Kroger would typically take about 1,200, 1,500 square feet to put together a grocery store. You'd go in, you'd tell them what they want, they'd pick it and give it to you. As we know, in terms of delivering goods, it's that last mile, which is, we're really trying to make that more efficient. In this, they had the labor for the pick and pack. Next. Then they went big time. They went up to 2,000 feet. Well, there was a fellow who was one of their managers who managed a number of stores. And next one, please. And what he did was a fellow named Michael Cullen. Michael Cullen proposed a new type of food store with a focus on low prices, cash sales, and without delivery service. He wanted larger stores at low rents with ample parking, operated as semi-self-service. 20% would be service, 80% self-service. Well, his letter that he sent to management went unanswered. He said, "Well, the heck of that, I'm going to do it myself." So he and his family moved to Jamaica Avenue and put together a store that was 40 feet by 130 feet. 5,200, that was the first King Cullen. Yes, the inventor of the supermarket was right here in Long Island. So Trader Joe's started in California. And what's happened with Trader Joe's? Trader Joe's is now owned by Aldi. The richest man in Germany is the owner of Aldi. Forget about Mercedes and everybody else and all the big industrial companies that are there. Aldi now owns Trader Joe's. Next, we take a look at Best Market. What's happened recently with Best Market? With Best Market, that has been purchased by Lidl. Lidl is the brother of the guy who owns Aldi. Next. Okay, that's what Lidl stands for. Anybody here good in German to pronounce it properly? We'll let that one go. Next, we'll take a look at King Cullen, the inventor. What's happened with King Cullen? King Cullen has been purchased by Stop and Shop. Now, Stop and Shop has done an excellent job of being a disruptor in and among themselves. One of the things that they have done, we now create a situation here which plays with real estate. Because we have Stop and Shops on Long Island, we have Bests on Long Island. And where are there overlaps? There are, of the dots you see there, which are the King Cullen stores, we now have 7 of them that are overlapped with Best Markets. And I know a coming soon in Plainview there, coming soon, Best Market. I don't know what's going to happen with that one. Next. All right, along comes a disruptor, Amazon Fresh. So Amazon Fresh, here's the deal. Either you pay a $300 a year subscription fee and you say, hey, I need a quart of milk, boom, they'll deliver it to you for free. Or if you have $35 order size, then they'll give it to you the next morning at no cost, guaranteed. From Amazon, in August 2017, Amazon announced a $13.7 billion acquisition of Whole Foods. You know that, the whole paycheck? Okay, that market, signaling it was ready to enter the brick and mortar grocery. As a result of that announcement and the commitment to lower prices, shares of Kroger, Walmart, Target, Costco, Super Value, and Sprouts Farmers Market collapsed. And in the decline in those 6 stocks, wiped out nearly $12 billion in market value in a single day. That's almost what the purchase price was. Do you know what everybody else thought about that? Go ahead. They're toast. All right, next. Peapod. Right here was done by Stop and Shop, an early adapter in the idea of home delivery business. From Peapod, next one please. I'm sorry, that's Tide Pods. They don't taste very good, don't eat them. Next. Okay, Peapod, you've seen their trucks around here on Long Island. They have done a good job on breaking out. Next please. All right, HelloFresh. I'm going to show you a couple of the different players that are in that space. Many of them are starting out regionally to see if they can get traction and move forward. By simply logging onto their website, you can order meals to last a family of 4 the whole week. How many people remember a thing called Super Suppers? There were 2 of them out here on Long Island, where you go in and everything is frozen. So you get a menu card, and then you go out and it's a quarter cup of this and a half of that, and you go out to pick up your own and make your own. You're doing the pick and pack. There really was a savings on that for those who need a little guidance in terms of cooking. With them, the more you order, you then earn different titles all the way up to Master Chef. What a deal. The more you order, the higher you rank. So they give you points. Does that work? How many people get into something like when Waze started, and then you got points every time you reported something? Everybody can go for that. Next, we're from HelloFresh. Next thing we'll look at is Instacart. The business model for Instacart is quite simple. Now picture this, using Instacart's own app, you can compile a list of grocery items you need. It's then sent to a shopper who proceeded to pick up your items and deliver them to you within the hour. Now what this is it's a growing number of companies embracing the collaborative economy. Buzz term, remember that one, collaborative economy. In this case, by matching people who don't have the time or patience to troll through supermarkets with people who have spare time and looking to make extra money. Next, please. They had a challenge there in terms of successfully motivating the people to do it. And what they've come down to is if you go shopping for somebody, you're going to earn at least $10. Number one, you may pick and pack for $3 to $5, or you may just do a delivery for that. But if somebody picks and packs and delivers, they're going to get at least $10 plus tips. Eggs. Good Eggs, an online marketplace that cuts out supermarkets, connects local farmers and food products to customers they don't have. So this is your fastest way to market, is, as the point, does not sit in a warehouse. So this is merely a facilitator saying, hey, he needs eggs, he needs this, he needs that. Next. A venture by Google is out here, Google Shopping Express. Because now with Google Shopping Express, you can, this is being tested in California, you can order not only your groceries, but a ream of paper, anything else you need from Staples, and then boom, everything comes in one delivery. So your entire shopping, whether it's from consumables or durables or expendables or toys, you can have that. Everything comes one place, one time. Next. But that's not the only thing that's happened. Blue Apron. Okay, this is for people who are willing to pay restaurant prices but do the work of the restaurant by cooking it. All right? Is that a good model? How many people here have tried Blue Apron? How many people here are still on Blue Apron? One. You're too busy with the stuff you're doing. That's it. Okay, let's see what happens with Blue Apron. Right now, you log on to Blue Apron, you get a $60 offer. What's your typical cost of customer acquisition? But if you're paying $60, get $20 of each of your first 3 boxes, they're trying to get you into the habit of relying on Blue Apron. Next, please. After 2 weeks, Blue Apron's return customer rate drops and only about 42% of customers are still ordering. At 24 weeks after a customer's first order, Blue Apron and plated retention level out, and only about 10% of their customers. Now, let's look at the cost of acquiring a customer. You know how much, think of Macy's. You see them on TV, you see the rotogravure, you hear them on the radio, you get direct mailers. How much do you think Macy's spends to get a customer? The actual cost of acquisition is over $80 to get a customer. So if you get $80, let's say Mrs. Smith walks in and buys a coat. Have they made their money back? No. Now we have a one-day sale only. Of course, we have one-day preview. Still calling it a preview sale and a regular sale. And now she goes in and she buys a bracelet. Have they made their money back? No. They're betting on the lifetime value of consumer. I had a friend who was with marketing with McDonald's, and he explained it beautifully. The customer comes in, he's got a stack of $5 bills on his forehead, and we get to peel them off one at a time. Blue Apron is having a rough time with that. However, they now have made a deal with Walmart, so from Walmart that they can provide the meal packages. And if you throw a couple of 100 million people into there, some of them are going to stick. Next, please. Walmart has its own delivery service for groceries, and that's Jet. This is currently being done, I think, in the Detroit market, that they're getting that one out there to try to do something. Fresh Direct. How many people have ever used Fresh Direct? Okay, Fresh Direct is great, especially if you're in Manhattan. So you've seen these trucks run around. You know what happens with those trucks? Their first year in business, they got $3.5 million in parking tickets. Next, please. They have upgraded their trucks. They've done a great job. They have grown beautifully. They have, in the last 6 years, doubled the business from where they had started. Next, please. You know this store, this is right, as you go over the Long Island Expressway, head into Manhattan, and you see a Las Vegas type LED sign, that's Fresh Direct. Underneath that is a 200,000 square foot building covering 10 acres. They had, and think of the massive capital, the most expensive thing in the restaurant industry is to pick and pack. Totally automated. Totally automated. The smart thing there is having the people. So they have drivers. They hire more drivers than they do workers inside that box. Go on, please. But they've outgrown that. Here's their new place. Their new place is going to be 400,000 square feet in the Bronx. This is immediately southwest of Hunt Point's Market. 400,000 square feet. This past year, 2018, their total sales were $800 million. They're doing that out of a 400,000 square foot facility. Therefore, their sales are $2,000 per square foot. There's only one supermarket I know that has higher sales per square foot than that, and that's the Whole Foods in the basement of the Time Warner Center. Next, please. Here's something else they're moving into. How'd you like to have in your apartment building fresh meals ready to go? If you go in, hey, about once a week, I'll pop into my local supermarket and buy a salad or whatever for lunch, all right? Ready to heat. The categories are we looking for something that's ready to heat or ready to eat? There we are, ready to eat. Simple. I don't have to chop lettuce and do that other awful task of cutting and chopping and dicing. Boom,
see those
done.
in colleges now too.
In colleges, they're putting those in?
Yeah.
Great, it's another channel. Next.
24 hours, so no one they can eat all day.
Fresh Direct charge about $6 to $7 for a typical delivery. Will probably never be cheaper than Amazon or Walmart, but their customer is either, basically it's urban. If you can get 600 people stacked vertically, that you get the efficiencies in terms of delivery. It's targeting discerning customers who are willing to pay a bit more for the convenience and quality. Next. Disruptors. These potential disruptors are either driving innovation across the supply chain or tapping into the opportunities of the ever-expanding mobile-enabled collaborative economy. Next, please.
So where are they shopping? Fresh Direct. What kind of products? Just
Everything that you would find in a grocery, you can do it. Now, last time I looked, I found strip steak, I saw filet mignon, I saw top round roasts. I didn't see a chuck roast. So what they have done is undoubtedly the 80-20 rule. Now, Stu Leonard was excellent in that. If you went to Stu Leonard, while you had somebody like Pathmark out there bragging that they're carrying 100,000 SKUs. You go to them, he goes, I will have the best-selling national brand at the best possible price and a store brand. That's it. So you do that, how many more choices of toilet paper do you need? You know, get the best-selling national brand, you get a house brand, you can do very, very well. I mean, Paul Newman got to start with that. Pardon me?
So it's very difficult to get in to become one of those.
That's right.
Brands.
Well, to get into Stu Leonard's, very, very difficult. But let's talk about some of the people here that have gotten the shelves. What are some of the methods that you've done in order to do that? Carolyn, you invented your own category, so we're not talking to you on that.
Well, Joe, who's going to be speaking later.
But for those who don't know, the additives to a coffee, little drop in, boom, flavoring, super stuff. So she did a great job. How many other people here have managed to get into one of these chains? If you can do it at pick and pack. Sam, how did you start out? Sam, start up. Stand up for a minute. Tell us when you started out, and you're out there. How did you go knock on doors? Who was your customer? You can see umpteen ways here that can be sold ultimately to the consumer, and you don't have to do that. You want to jump onto that relationship. But give us the first 3 things you did to try to get your product out there.
The first step was hitting the streets. We went into the city, went to the West Side markets, went to the health food stores, spoke to the buyers, sold it directly to the buyers, sometimes gave it to them on consignment, and started to build a base.
Hold that thought right there. Come on.
Okay.
You're not First thing on
Good thing you showed
consignment.
up, Sam, today.
For those who may not know, that means, look, I'll give you the product, I'll put it there. You sell it, you pay me for it. And it's risky and it takes capital in order to do that. But if you do that, you get proof of concept. Because nobody had walked in asking for a paleo frozen dessert. So they don't know that that exists. So in the way you do that, you open that in the mind of the buyer in order to show it to the consumer. Now, did you do tastings there?
Sure, we did demos there. Yep.
What was the most surprising thing you learned in doing that? Either in getting from a buyer, or what happened in your tastings? What was some of the feedback you got?
Well, when you do a tasting, the day we did a tasting, we would sell more product than the whole month that we weren't there. So when you're in front of the consumer and they get to taste it, they're much more likely to buy it.
Every time. Yeah, all of us,
Sure.
I think, can attest to that.
Yeah, I can attest
What-
to that.
we got support, we got support, we got support. Absolutely. Why do you think they have all those little tasting counters at Costco when you walk through there? Lunchtime, I guess I'll go to Costco and do some shopping. It worked really well. But Sam, in your case, maybe you're a little intimidating when you're looking at them. You'd like to buy some of this, wouldn't you? All right. All right. Once you got into those places, and that's a great move to put it out on consignment for proof of concept. There's a limit to how much product you have, how much capital you have in order to do that. But when you do that, you now have a success story to tell to the next guy down the road.
Yes. Then you can go to a bigger chain and say, look, I'm in these 40 smaller chains, and we've sold this much in these chains. We think we can do the same thing here. You have more foot traffic, and you're a bigger store.
Excellent. Vito.
As far as the consignment, I understand it, but I would definitely advise, make sure you're there to move that product, doing a tasting or whatever the case is, if you're gonna put something on consignment.
Or someone that's well scripted.
To do
that
it
needs to
for
be
you,
there in
yes.
order to do that.
And
I've done a little bit of it myself. Hi, folks. This is the Dial and Vegematic. Yes, folks, the very same Dial and Vegematic you've seen on TV. It slices, it dices. You sell the product.
But Paul, I think you also have to be careful about the repeat orders. So you can have a great first day, people like you, they don't want to see, no, you're charming, perhaps you're cute, whatever the case may be, it's the second order that counts.
That's
What
the
you
real
do the
order.
first day is slightly smoke and mirrors. It does not mean you will be successful. It's when you're not there, it's the second buy.
Right, and
Fully agree, because when you start the first time, you have this noblesse oblige. They gave you something for nothing, I gotta buy this for there. But when you get the reorder, so now let's talk about that.
Before you
You've
go
been-
there, so let's tie it into our earlier discussion, with taking this app that we have, that once you get the brand awareness from the first sampling,
to encourage them to then go back.
Correct.
Because now we have the touch point to get them signed up when they're doing the sampling. And then you have an opportunity to reach them again and say, oh, I like that product. They walk through the same store, they now have it pop up on their phone.
That's a great point, because it's not just having a great product that tastes good, it's not just a good package, it's also a good brand that's constantly in front of the consumer, and essentially you want to build a community with them. You want them to feel comfortable, like they're a part of your life and you're a part of theirs in some way.
Okay, so there you are, you've had your success day, you've sold more than you sold the previous month or perhaps the next month. But talk to us now of those people that bought. I don't know that you can track them head by head, but tell us about that second round when they're not intimidated, when they're not, gee, noblesse oblige working against them. Tell us now what happened in terms of that sales. Boom, you're there, you get a honeymoon, you can only be in one place at one time.
Yeah, it starts out really strong and then it sort of levels out and flattens out. You know, there's a small drop, but then there's a pretty steady flat line there.
That's great when you hit it. Tell us about the seasonality of your
However,
products.
there is one challenge.
Please.
The manager themselves, if you don't get in the store in front of them, and you're not a big brand like Nestle, Haagen-Dazs, or Ben & Jerry's, they kind of forget about you. And then even if the store orders because they see it's out of stock, they get it, they put it in the freezer in the back of the store. Sometimes
Don't
it doesn't
put it on
hit the
shelf.
retail shelves.
And you don't want to get caught up in paying slotting allowances. I mean, I remember one point in time, going back maybe about 15, 16 years ago, because of the unionization in supermarkets, there was one of the chains, and I'm sorry I don't recall which one, but their slotting allowances for the year were greater than the profit from the entire chain.
Don't get sucked into that.
That's a game you can't. It's a no-win game.
Stop and Shop wants about $12,000 a SKU. Shaw's wants $10,000 a SKU. You can go on and on. Most of the big supermarkets are going to charge a slotting fee.
So, but let's face it, how many people are still shopping the big supermarkets? Let's go back 20 years ago, before Costco opened on Long Island. How many people here did at least 80% of their shopping in supermarkets? Okay? Now, we've taken both ends of that chain. If you want your staples, and I want 2 gallons of extra virgin olive oil, and I want to buy the substantial amounts of large, they don't sell individual units, that's their trick, so that they don't upset the suppliers. You got to buy the 6 pounds of pasta at one time. Fine, fair game. But now a chunk of the grocery shopping dollar has gone there. At the other end, how many people now go and shop green markets, farmers markets, your local fruit and vegetable store, your Korean markets? Absolutely. So your daily, what the Europeans called, many Europeans, women carry in their purse a little scrunched up net. It's called their perhaps bag. Perhaps I'll see something at the market. You don't see people in Europe running around with cartons and large paper bags. Everything is, many of them carry their own, the ultimate in recycling. But if I take the food service dollar and so many migrate on the staples goes to the larger players, so much on the short end goes to the fruit and vegetable and the daily market, what happens in between? Well, supermarkets wake up and say, you know what? We're out here spending all our time fighting for a nickel on a can of peas. What about taking value-added foods for a time-starved consumer? Ready to heat, ready to eat. I look at it when I walk through a supermarket and I see that they're charging $4 a pound for mashed potatoes, when you can buy the potatoes for 40 cents a pound. But nevertheless, for the time-starved consumer is willing to trade dollars for convenience.
They
Carolyn.
also take food that's
About to spoil, and they cook it, so they're no longer losing the dollars for the spoiled food, but they're cooking it and they're selling it. It's brilliant.
Or they take it and freeze it and give it to Island Harvest. Yeah, those are the
no,
two.
but I mean
Absolutely.
seriously, like it's brilliant.
Absolutely. They're selling chicken at 79 cents a pound. They're selling cooked chicken at about $2.25 a pound. Fine, value added. They actually now have a profit center. And if they can do that with non-unionized labor, now they have a business model. the best at it is Wegmans. How many people have been to Wegmans? All right. Wegmans value-added food. The majority of their sales come from value-added food. Terrific stuff. So one day, I'm in a Wegmans upstate, and they're handing out samples, and it's really nice. It's a grilled bun that they sell, and grilled portobello mushrooms with a reduced balsamic. I get a tasting, I go, that's delicious, I'll take one. And I go, well, no, we can't sell the finished product. I go, now you can sell this and you can sell that, but you can't, and you can cook it and put it together, and I'm willing to buy it. So they say, well, yeah, but we're not geared for that. I said, would it be okay if I had 9 samples? Instead of taking it and cut it like that. Obviously, there was another alternative that they hadn't capitalized on, but now they are. You can go and see those. And you look at the things that you just put in a panini press, and boom, you're ready, you're off to the market. Here we are. We're doing what we were doing over 100 years ago, and we're going back to market. This happens to be Union Square Market, which does somewhere around $70 million a year in sales, and that's only operating a couple of days a week. Next, please. Food trucks. Another new channel where you can go get a food truck and not just get a dirty water dog, you can get something else that's worthwhile. So the big challenge that we have is how do you take your product, how do you get into those multiple channels? You got a lot of front doors out there today that people are walking through. It may be online, it might be in a truck, it might be on a cart, it may be on a card table on the boardwalk. But these are the things that if you've got a product, you can hit that multiple channel distribution. You want to take a core competency, ideally wrap 4 walls around it, and have somebody else do the marketing, have somebody else develop a relationship with the customer through an app or something like that. And every once in a while, the lag nap, give them something. The people who are the best, send them something great. All right, next one. Everything we're doing is fighting the battle for the share of stomach. Some of it's brand names, but I submit to you, other than brand names, the other key things that are important are going to be immediacy of delivery and freshness. That's the game. Thank you.
Good job.
Any questions? Any more questions for Paul?
Any more? Darren, yes, Darren.
We just did a sampling at Whole Foods for 3 hours, and about 60% of the people passing by were these phantom shoppers with headphones in their ears doing shopping for people. And they would sometimes stop and try mud, but the other 40% either had no interest or they would stop and talk to me for like 20 minutes. And we ended up hugging, we ended up bonding, and it really brings like this question of where do we socialize, right? If everything's done online, if we're all starved for time and starved for energy, how do we refuel as human beings, you know, human contact? And I think, how do you see retail spaces adjusting to the online marketplace? I know that's been a conversation. How do you make an experience for people where they can socialize?
Excellent question. Here's what I submit to you as an answer. Man has been going to the marketplace for 4,000 years. One of the things that had happened, and let's look at the way restaurants started. People would come out from the countryside in Paris. They'd spend as much as 3 hours to schlep in order to get to the market. When they get to the market at Les Halles, they needed to recharge their energies, both psychic and nutritional. They needed a restorer, a restauratif. The person that would do that was the restorer, the restaurateur, and the place where you did it was the restaurant. So you'd like to think with people going, being a social animal, that you can go to the marketplace and get this. What irks me no end is I walk into one of my clients' restaurants and I sit there and I see 4 millennials and they're all on their phones. Here's a great opportunity to actually speak to people face to face. And other than the fact that their grammar and spelling are much less cursive writing, these are all lost arts. But the art of conversation and being someone face to face. As I often say, the telephone has one purpose, and that's to pick up the phone, to arrange a time where you can get face to face to persuade. That's it. I hope we never lose that. That's all we're up against.
Here,
Thank you.
that.
Anybody else? Done. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Well, so we're gonna